Unlike almost every other thing we take time to do on purpose, worship makes nothing. It accomplishes nothing. It sells nothing. It yields nothing. Worship is its own end. This is my mentor and friend, the Reverend Victoria Safford, writing this. She says, in our liberal communion, it has no direct object. Grammatically, the verb is intransitive. We don't worship anything, any single thing, but draw instead on the oldest meaning of the word, from the Old English, worthscape, worthship, to consider what is of worth, to hold that which is worthy, to remember what has worth once a week for a little while together, to honor what is worthy of honor, to notice what is worthy of notice, to grieve the losses and the sorrows that are worthy of our tears, to tell stories about and sing about, to celebrate, to draw closer to be more mindful of, more alert to what matters, to name in the clearest possible language and the best possible music, through the deepest possible silence, a few significant things. In the congregation where I was an intern more than 15 years ago, members of the worship committee answered the question of what it is they think they're doing in a Sunday worship, what they think it's for. And these are some of the replies their minister collected. One person wrote, "We come to center ourselves individually and together, and then to explore and search and question and offer and receive and reflect and relax and recharge and reveal to ourselves and maybe to each other something of value, of worth, that maybe will guide us during the coming days or reveal to us the meaning of the days we've just journeyed through." Someone else, a long-time member, said, "We come to join with others in an act of common prayer, and by doing so, hope to move beyond our narrow prejudices and personal concerns to embrace a larger vision of life." Worship, said one, is a time to be open, a time to let in what one is now ready to hear, or what one has found the strength to feel. Something that maybe you weren't ready to take in or work with before, but now the time has arrived for that particular moment of growth. Someone wrote, "To me, worship is an active, participatory experience, as opposed to the presentation of a program. My participation may appear to be very still and inward, or perhaps I'm an active catalyst, but in either case, in any case, I am not a bystander." I grew up in a little white-walled, clear glass church in the suburbs of Boston, to the point where when they refurbished the organ with the barest bit of blue and gold decoration, I thought, oh, such ostentation. But I grew up there in RE classes and coming of age. And the first time I came back to that church as an adult home from college, I sat in a service, and we never, even the youth choir, we never sat through a whole service. We sang our first thing and then our second thing, and then we left, to our great and general relief. So I sat there in this church I knew well, with people I knew, and I had no idea at all what I was supposed to be doing. I sat, I stood, I sang, I listened, but I didn't know then what it was to participate in church, what it was to be active in the pew rather than passive, what it was not to be a bystander. This hour of worship that we do together, the work of it is not about acquiring a particular set of ideas. It's not for me to deposit wisdom into your heads. It is not about a systematic progress along a fixed philosophical system. We are now on Sermon 104, the top. It's not any of that stuff. This work is a renewal of courage and hope for life, for actual life as it happens. And we do that work through the beauty of space and sight and sound and order, through the experience of this thing as much as the idea of it. We make room to ask, who am I? And what am I about when I am not doing or making or working or producing or performing? The shape, the architecture of the service through time is designed to make a space to do that. The bell marks the gateway you step through into this time set apart. And the opening words offer some sense of what the invitation is. And then, I don't know, for you, for me, always, it's singing together. It's that first piece of singing together where it starts to gel and crystallize, and I feel something different in myself. Often, I don't know if it looks it from there. Before the service, I am not in a place of deep, profound serenity with the universe. I am checking my notes and confirming I have all the pages I thought I had printed. And making sure, is Jack ready for the announcement? Does Fred have the thing? For me, the bell just I think, like everyone, right? The bell is the invitation. For me, though, it's the singing where I start to say, okay, here I am now in this place. Here I am slowing, stilling, singing, whether you sing or not. 100 voices become this one single voice sung through everyone's mouth. And there's this moment to quiet your body or mind. My breath changes when I sing. My heart rate changes. My blood pressure lowers when I sing. And then the wisdom story offers some place to continue that momentum that starts to build, that sense of what here is worth paying attention to. What is an ordinary thing that I wasn't paying attention to that offers some shift, some insight, something to carry away? And when Allison shares her story in the chalice lighting, when anyone does, it's not an announcement, an autobiography. It is a bridge to know someone better who you may not have known. It's a mirror to see your own experience more clearly. How is your story theirs or not? And we covenant and commit, and in the prayer and meditation, we open this space to go deeper, to listen. And in the stones ritual, we do that same listening in empathy and connection and community. The work of that ritual is not placing the stone. It's not the visible part of it. It's everything that you're doing inside yourself. It's the feeling of being surrounded by all of these other folks, of knowing, even if you may not hear them out loud, that on the hearts of every person in this room is the same sort of care and anxiety and hope and joy as is yours. The shape of the service makes the space to do the work. But I also want to be careful to say, the expectation is not that every service for you unfolds exactly like I've described. Like that, what I just said is such a beautiful, idealized version of what's happening, right? Probably what happens is there's something in the wisdom story. Maybe it has nothing to do with what Rachel even says. Maybe you all of a sudden remember what the doorway looked like to your kitchen in the house of your childhood, and you dwell in that space and memory a little while, that nothing has gone wrong if that's what just happened. You're not quizzed on the wisdom story afterwards. That's you doing your work. That's you feeling your feelings. That's the practice. Worship planning asks the question, what kind of an experience do we want to invite people into? What are the things that let us deepen, that let us connect? The container and the form. The 9 a.m. service is a little different than this one, a little smaller. We meet in the sky room, a little shorter. It's held in the round. The music is all a cappella singing. You should definitely come sometime. Probably not on daylight savings. But as different as the shape of the thing is, the purpose and the point, what we're doing on the other side of that wall is just the same thing we're doing here, dividing this time from the ordinary rush, slowing down, it's like letting your spirit or your soul or your psyche catch up with you. Your life is rendering laggy and you need to let it catch back up. UU services vary from one place to another. If you're wondering here for the first time why we do it wrong, that's why. Most of our congregations will light a chalice. Not all of them have a personal reflection that goes with it. Most will have singing or music and silence, some kind of sermon. But there's no central body for us, which says all of our congregations have to do it in a particular way. And at the same time, I think in all of those different forms, we're all trying to do the same sort of thing, to invite each other into the work. In this service, the order of it is not very different from neighboring mainline Protestant denominations. If you go to Community UCC over on Table Mesa, which is a wonderful church, and you all should check them out too. I mean, come back, but check them out too. They're gonna speak and sing and be silent together. They're gonna move through so much of this. And we follow this order of service in our 11 a.m. service because we have similar roots as all these other Protestant churches. 100 years ago, we were a Protestant denomination too. And there are plenty of UU churches today more Christian than us. Partly, that's because the form works. The form doesn't work because other churches have adopted it. They've adopted it because it works. It lets us do the sort of effort that we're trying to do in this time together. And partly also we do it just because of tradition. I still wear a stole, the Christian symbol of authority, in this case invested by you in me. And I wear a robe whose roots are in the Protestant Reformation, when clergy replaced Roman Catholic vestments with the doctoral robes of the university. I am ready should a graduation break out. Doctoral robes, though, to indicate a learned ministry, this idea that clergy should be engaged with the text, with their own development, with their growth, with study, and ultimately that is all of our work together, that I can't do that for you. We still use so much of this traditional Christian language. We have preludes and postludes and prayer and meditation. I'm on a chancel, not a stage. I know, this is very exciting to me. But the point of it is, why does anyone care, right? I think it matters to use some of this old language, and in fact, to claim it as our own. Because what we're doing is not a performance. We're not up here being someone other than who we are. And because you have just as much work to do during this service as me. And maybe there is a different word, which is neither chancel nor stage, but captures all of what that is at once. But the point is not to get the word exactly right, but to understand what it's pointing to. That's the same thing with worship itself. It's not to find what exactly encapsulates for you perfectly the thing that you feel that you're doing. It's to say, all right, we use this old word worship, which may come loaded with meanings from your past. What does it mean to you? How do you embody it? Every so often, someone will apologize to me afterwards for crying during the service. And I get it. I'm not really comfortable crying in public, but what that also means is that during the service, they were for them doing the work. They were feeling their feelings, and whatever came up for them, instead of bottling them up, instead of saying, church is not the right place to feel grief, and putting on a pleasant mask of all is well, they felt it. I feel that same way about clapping in services. I don't like in church, if you've ever been in a service where there is like weird performative clapping where several people start, and then clearly what is going through everyone else's minds is, I guess I better join in too. It would be weird if I didn't. That you can feel how awkward that is. But you've also we just had this experience a few minutes ago where you were feeling something in response to the music and you let that feeling out in your clapping. That's amazing. That's just right. I used to serve a congregation on the south side of Chicago where people, even the white people, knew Black church. And I heard back from them. Yes, amen, that's right. Come on. You can do that here. You can start if you need to just by mouthing the words, work up to whispering, and then gradually build the volume. But the point of it is to make a space where you can feel your feelings. It's about authenticity. That's integrity. That kind of authenticity extends to honoring and taking care of your body too in this service. We're hearing all sorts of bodies and shapes and sizes, ages, needs. And what I want to tell you is if you feel uncomfortable, you should do the things that make you feel more comfortable. If you need to go to the bathroom, you should leave and go to the bathroom. You don't need to perform perfect attention. If you need to stand up and stretch your legs, stand up, stretch your legs. Out the back door is the listening room. There's the live stream of the service. Go out, come back. The people in the back are not going to give you dirty looks if you do this. Actually, people in the back confirm this to me. Yeah, I'm getting lots of thumbs up. I love it. One of the things that always makes me happy is to someone coming in late and just getting a big smile. And I can see sometimes people moving over to make space. I feel so strongly like, if you are here on time, that's beautiful. If you are here late, good. You're here, it's good to be together. You can take care of what your body needs in worship. If you have trouble focusing at the back of a room, when I go to somebody else's church, I sit in the front because when I sit in the back, and this is me, I am not putting this on you all. When I sit in the back of the church, I do not pay attention to what is going on. And the fact is, some Sundays, that's what I need. Some Sundays, I need to sit in the back and not be engaged with what's happening and just be held and let myself lie back and float on the music and the words and the people. That's okay too. The thing that's most important for you in each service may be different from one week to the next or one season of life to the next. Some days, the most important thing is going to be nothing that happens in this room, but instead, someone saying to you, "Hi, I am glad to see you," and meaning that, and that is going to save your life for a couple of hours. And some days, the most important thing is to go off on your own tangent during the wisdom story and carry that out into the whole week that comes. Our service is about an hour, but that's more about attention span and scheduling than anything magical about an hour. Our Puritan ancestors used to meet all day Sunday. Actually, I was remembering this recently. They someone volunteered to go around the room during these early 17th century Protestant Puritan services and hit people who fell asleep. I think let's have more engaging worship instead. But time moves differently in services. And the point of this hour is the journey that you go on, not the number of minutes it is. I have led half-hour services which felt like they lasted for days, right? I don't know if you've been to those here. I hope not, maybe. And you've been to memorial services where you hear people start to share and you are transported out of time and place along with them through and into that life, and you look up at the clock shocked that time has passed. And maybe you're not feeling all of that. It's okay to be sad or tired or bored or angry or just disengaged. That will happen. We call it spiritual practice because you have to keep at it. Go to yoga practice, presumably. And some days it is easy and some days it is a mess. The point is to keep on practicing, to return to the center again and again. And who knows how far any of us might travel between the opening words and the closing.